Raider! Oakland, LA, Oakland, Vegas, Raider Nation, wherever, forever! You got your old Uncle Mosh and Raiders Fan Radio from Murph's Fan Cave, taking a lighter journey into the dark side. Sit back, put your feet up, pop a top, and enjoy the ride. Here we go!
Look left, look right, Kolechnikov, a leaking pass, touchdown!
We miss you, we love you, and we'll see you in the Hall of Fame.
When you have great coaches, then after you have great coaches, you get great players. You have a great organization, and you tell them one thing: just win, baby.
Way up the middle, intercepted Filipiano at the 50, time running down, Oakland football, and I think Oakland victory.
The Oakland Raiders have scored on the most zany, unbelievable, absolutely impossible dream of a play. Well, I love this team. I think this team can win. I think this team can win.
What is up, Raider Nation? Your old buddy Murph back once again for another what we hope to be fantastic episode of Raiders Fan Radio. That's right, episode number 124 here in Murph's Fan Cave of Raiders Fan Radio. Appreciate everybody joining us on the YouTubes, on the internets, on the what else you got there? You got the Apple Podcast there. You got the Google Play.
Talk about it in a minute.
You got the Stitcher. Wait, who's that? I heard a voice. I heard a disembodied voice. That's right. Hey, who's the new guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, hey, who's the new guy? Welcome back to the Raiders Fan Radio, to the Fan Cave, the one and only Uncle Mosh.
Man, I'm not clapping for me. I'm clapping because I'm glad to be back.
Man, we lost
a year.
Yeah, it's. I'm sorry I didn't bail you out as quick as I needed to there, Mosh. I know that you ran into a little legal trouble there with the truffle shuffle.
Well, it's a good thing that Capo came to the rescue. I liked his PSA at the end of the show last week. I appreciated him coming down here and taking up my slack. And he left me a nice little gifty.
He left you a gift. What did he leave you?
He left me a thing. He gave me a little envelope.
All right, little envelope.
Now, normally, when the Capo leaves you an envelope or an envelope, depending on where you're from,
yeah,
there's some guys like Ben.
Yeah.
Or Andrew, or Ulysses. Yeah. I got a note.
You got a note. So he did.
Yeah.
So he paid tribute.
He paid tribute. He paid respect.
All
it
right.
says, regards, Q-Dog.
All right. And what'd you get?
And he left me a milk bone. Q.
Jeez.
That's right.
Oh, gosh.
Because I'll eat. And...
Wait a minute. That's not keto. I thought you were on the keto diet.
I am
Mark.
on the keto. It was a keto milk damn bone.
Jeez.
You know what? All kidding aside,
Is that kind of good?
when you ain't had bread in a while, that thing was pretty. Q, send me another one,
Yeah, you get another one.
bro. It
Oh,
really wasn't too bad.
wasn't too bad. All right. All right. Well, welcome back to the show. Uncle Mosh, it's great to have you here.
Man.
So thankful to Aaron the Q-Dog Raider. Look at my glasses are fogging up already. So thankful to Aaron the Q-Dog Raider for joining me here in the Fan Cave last week. That was awesome to have Aaron. He did a great job.
Oh, fantastic job.
Such a great job holding down the southern annex of the Murph's Fan Cave desk over there. Also, thank you to Sonny, who joined us the week prior. Good always to get Sonny back in the Fan Cave and talk a little Raiders football, so appreciate him as well. And thank you to all of you for hanging in there with us as we go through these episodes of Raiders Fan Radio. All right, so here on Raiders Fan Radio, as those of you that are already on the YouTube know, you can find us that way. Always, you can find us youtube.com/Murph's Fan Cave. That's MURFS Fan Cave. And so many of you in the chat already tonight. Aaron the Q-Dog Raider, Ashton, Chris Potts, Ron the Wrench, the Materator is in there. Let's see, Mr. Kano, the Big Easy, the Don is in there. Joseph Duran, Sean Grogan, Bobby Wasabi, Eye Patch is in there. Appreciate everybody, as always, joining us live. And again, you can do that every time we go live, which is typically on Wednesday nights here in Murph's Fan Cave. Also, you can find us on the Apple devices there, on Apple Podcasts. You can subscribe to us there, and you can subscribe to us on Google or Stitcher or any other of those what such not whatever those services are.
Those what such not.
I don't know. I'm throwing it out there. Whatever those things are. All right, so along with subscribing, of course, and participating, as always, one of the best ways to support Raiders Fan Radio now, a new thing that we've got going on, is that we have this link, and it's in the live link this time. It's in the link here on the YouTube, and it will be also on the podcast version as well. There's a link. Hit that link, and that will take you to NFLshop.com. When you go to NFLshop.com, anything that you buy there won't cost you anything extra, but we get a kickback from NFLshop.com.
Money.
We get
Q
money.
Dog. Listen to what they're saying. We get the envelopes without the milk bones.
We get the cash. All right, so listen, we're going to get the cash. It's going to go into a nice little fund. It's going to go into the Raiders Fan Radio hopper, if you will.
Yep.
And we are going to let that hopper fill up for the majority of the year. And then at the end of the year, Mosh and I, on behalf of you all that participate in this, are going to make a one-time donation to a charity. Now, we've been in talks with multiple different charities, and I am very proud to announce that tonight we can make it official that we are now partnered with the Bolitnikoff Foundation. That is, yes, number 25 right
That's
there over my
baby.
shoulder. Number 25, Fred Bolitnikoff. That is his foundation that was founded by he and his wife, Angela, in memory of their daughter, Tracy. And Uncle Mosh is going to give us more details on that later. But I want you all to know this, that we're going to give away all of it. And we've been invited not only to partner with them, to present them this money that you're going to help us raise, but they invited us to attend one of their events live and present the check live. So me and Uncle Mosh are going to have the opportunity to walk the red carpet on behalf of you and Raiders Fan Radio and present the Bolitnikoff Foundation a check and a donation to their organization. And Mosh, I'm thrilled to be able that not only did we find a really cool charity, but it's Raiders related. And again, it's not going to cost you guys anything extra. If you need a new jersey, go buy a new jersey, and then it's just going to help us out and help us donate to this wonderful charity.
Yeah, and the really cool thing about it is you got to speak with Fred's wife.
Yeah, I spoke with Angela in person this week.
And like it's not like, I'll have my people call you or whatever. No, you spoke with Fred Bolitnikoff's wife.
Yeah,
man.
Yeah.
And of course, when we were talking about it, and you called me on the phone right after you got done, and we were fanboying about it, and we were all excited, and I'm like, did you tell her to tell Fred you said hey? Yeah. I mean, that's so cool.
He can't hang up the phone because the stickum on his hand.
Yeah. So, but their foundation, we jest, but their foundation is amazing. It's and they got a great mission statement. It's the Bolitnikoff Foundation is to commemorate their daughter Tracy, who they lost at 20 years old, and it's to commemorate her life and untimely death, and helps to enable young people to realize their full potential through support of community and education programs that effectively address the related problems of substance abuse and domestic violence. And through that, they've put together the Bolitnikoff Foundation Scholarship Award, Tracy's Place of Hope, which is it's a residential program for adolescent girls. STAND is a Contra Costa County safe housing for domestic violence victims. The Dacia Bolitnikoff Dance Scholarship, Kids First, Take a Stand. I mean, they are in it, man, with both feet, and I can't think of something that is more relevant in today's society and in pro football than this
Absolutely.
Foundation, and it is top notch. So we are really, really excited about doing this.
Absolutely, thank you, Mosh. It's great stuff, and again, it's it was great to talk to Angela, and she gave me a rundown of not only what their different events are, and graciously invited us to participate in those, but also kind of let us know that, that they not only invest in people directly, but they invest in facilities to provide for these at-risk folks, and whether that just be a safe place to stay or whatever. And they're building new places.
And as a lifelong teacher, and you and I as lifelong coaches, education is so important.
Absolutely.
And so in addition to the rehab programs and the things that are available, the educational opportunities and the scholarships and the stuff that they do, it's beyond reproach, man. It is top notch.
Absolutely.
It's top notch. So.
Good stuff. So please support us, and by helping us support them, support the Biletnikoff Foundation. Click that link, and Mosh, we would never ask Raider Nation nor the listeners to Raiders Fan Radio to do something we wouldn't do.
No, absolutely not.
We would never rep a brand. You wear that Carhartt hat proud because Carhartt was a sponsor of our show, and we wanted to wear the gear. We were like, okay, well, if it's good enough for us to rock here on the show, then we don't feel bad about promoting it. And so, because of this affiliation with NFLshop.com, I put my money where my mouth is, and I got you something.
What'd you get me? Oh, I love gifty time.
All right, so I went to NFLshop.com through our link, and I bought Mosh this package. I'm handing it to him now. So we're going to open that up here live on the air.
Live.
And live on the air. And so this is something I want you guys get. When you hit the link, it takes you to the Raiders section of the shop, and you can get anything, including jerseys, which Mosh doesn't have. A Raiders jersey.
This will be my first Raider jersey. I got T-shirts.
You got
T-shirts. This will be my first Raider jersey.
Your first Raider jersey, and tell them for the listeners on audio what number it is.
So as I open it up, of course, I see all silver and black with the NFL logo on the front, and I mean it's amazing. And of course, the one and only, the man, my main man, number 60. Otis Sistrom from the University of Mars. But look what it says on the back.
Yeah,
it
baby.
Says Uncle Mosh.
Yeah.
Good job, nephew.
Thank you.
So good. And so, the next part of my segment was going to be, what shirts are we sporting? Okay, so I got my Get Made shirt on, but you're going to have to talk a little bit because I'm going to.
Okay, all right.
I'm going to change.
You're going to change
here live on camera, and they all love it when I change.
They love, You're all about changing. So you could go to NFLshop.com, customize a jersey. Look, they're not overly expensive, really. They're not that bad. You get the cool.
Well, what, you going to tell me how much you spent?
No,
on me
I'm not gonna. I'm telling Raider Nation that it's affordable.
I bet it was more than Q-Dog spent on my biscuit.
Telling you it's affordable, so definitely go check it out. And again, it supports us. But look, we're full disclosure, man. You guys know us. We're giving everything away. We're giving it all to the Biletnikoff Foundation. All right, let's go to the fan cave cam. There you go. You see Uncle Mosh wearing his number 60. There you go. Yeah, and they got the back there to Uncle Mosh. There it is. Yeah, man, looks good on you. Fit you perfect. Yeah, and it's authentic Nike jersey, man. Like, it's good stuff, man. It's good stuff. So y'all go out there and help the Biletnikoff, help the Biletnikoff Foundation, and we're going to be shouting out the Made Men when we're on the red carpet there in Dublin for the Crab Fest is what they call it. That's their fall event, and so. All right,
man, this is awesome.
Looks good on you, Mosh. Looks good.
Yeah,
all right,
good.
let's go. Let's hit the contact information and kick off this show.
All right, boys and girls, pay attention. You got your old Uncle Mosh here with an update. That's right. I got some stuff for you. Take out a piece of paper, a pencil, a pen. Heck, use your pocket knife and carve the info into your dashboard as you're driving down the highway. First off, you need to like us on our fan page on Facebook. That's right. Go to Facebook at Raiders Fan Radio Podcast. Don't forget about the Twitter. You know your old Uncle Mosh, he twits now. That's right. Go to at Raiders Fan Radio. Also, don't forget the Instagram at Raiders Fan Radio. Or what about our website? That's right, RaidersFanRadio.com. Heck, if you want to, you can even email us show@RaidersFanRadio.com or call us on the Raiders Fan Radio hotline, 909-345-3346. That's 909-345-3346. Don't forget, Merv's Fan Cave on the YouTube, where you can get all the show links like the Fan Club Blitz with Splatterhead and Fitz. Find all our stuff on podcast providers like Stitcher, iTunes, and Google Play. All right, did I hit the time limit? Good.
All right, we are. Thank you to the chat, man. The chat's always way funnier than we are. And Chris Potts says, "I got scared for a second. I thought you were going to give Uncle Mosh the Raiders Speedo or the Raiders bikini."
Hey, Chris, I already got it, dude.
All right, so appreciate y'all joining us here on. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, of course, I like a little abuse, and so
we're not above abuse.
I know we're all about abuse, And so immediately, Sean Grogan says, Black Raider gear makes us all look slimmer. Thank you, Sean. Anytime we can say, makes us look slimmer is a good day for me.
Yeah.
But hey, I just want to say something. I want to give a shout out. I want to give a shout out to my man Q. Man, if you guys haven't shared us with folks, if you haven't got a Raider friend or a Raider fan or somebody that give them our contact info. Tell them to go back and listen to some of the old shows. But last week, you and Dog hit it out of the park.
Oh, thank you, Mike.
Yeah,
no
kidding, man.
You.
Dog
he was awesome.
He was great. He was so good, and he's so eloquent, and he's just had once you guys got rolling, man, it was so much fun. I was driving. And I got to work, and I sat in the parking lot, and I'm like,
oh, nice.
I got an extra 15 minutes, So nice. It was hilarious, man. It was a really good. So that's a good one to share. Tell
Absolutely.
folks hit 123 on that, and we will have Dog back. He'll be back. Yeah. He'll bring his barking self back here.
We're gonna have him for the draft.
Oh yeah, well he'll be on the draft, and
next month.
Maybe we can get him to represent at the Czech Fest. The
Crab Fest.
Yeah, the Crab Fest. Yeah. So anyway, it was good.
Absolutely. Great to partner with him, and glad he was able to make it here to the Fan Cave, man. It was a lot of fun having him, and we had a good time. Not only did we do the show, but we hung out a little before and definitely after. We went out and grabbed some food and talked about Raiders football, of course. Talked about our families. Talked about Star Wars, man. We had a good old time. So definitely much respect to the Capo, and great to see him in person, and look forward to seeing him at the draft. And we're going to talk a little bit about the draft here in a minute. All right, so we are at episode number 124 of Raiders Fan Radio, and so we always reference our show number back to something significant in Raider Nation, Mosh. And so there's a few options this week with episode number 124. So the first one I always look for nowadays, because we're in the 100s. I look for like yardage totals, because that's typically something you can find, if not a date. And so I found a yardage total that I thought was fun. Back in 1977, the Raiders on December 4th played against the Minnesota Vikings, who they just previously saw earlier in the year in the Super Bowl. And the Raiders won 35-13, I believe, but 124 passing yards on the day for Kenny Stabler. Now, he threw for more than that, but because he was sacked a couple of times, he only threw for 124 yards. So I'm like, 124 yards, and they put up 35 points. I'm like, what the heck happened in this game? Like, how does that work?
How does that work?
Well, it's defense. It's Jack Tatum and George Atkinson.
Right.
3 picks combined in that game. And so if you don't think that a good defense helps your quarterback, wink, wink, to nowadays modern day Raider fan Derek Carr, it helps out a lot. It helps out a lot when you have George Atkinson. Or no, it was Skip Thomas. It was Skip Thomas and Jack Tatum. So when you have the Soul Patrol back there, it certainly helps your quarterback and helps your offense score points. But
Kenny only had 15 attempts in that whole game.
15
attempps. Stabler. He only had 15 attempts.
I know.
And I was like, hello?
No, I was going to ask you who the running back was.
10 jeez.
Van Egan?
Banaszak? No,
I mean, Clarence Davis, probably.
Davis. Okay,
right,
it was Clarence Davis. But I'm like, really? 10 attempts? Or
15 attempts, 10
completions? That's
not much.
That's not much.
Yeah, no, it's not much. It's all defense, man. Defense wins championships.
Whatever happened to Tommy Kramer? That was their QB that
QB,
day.
Yeah.
He replaced Francis.
Yeah. I don't know. I kind of remember him from like football cards and stuff.
You know what?
What?
Because we don't care about Minnesota.
I don't care about the Vikings.
It's cold there.
It's cold. And so so that was one option, but we got to dig a little deeper than that. We got to come up with something cooler than a yardage total.
Yeah, come on.
1977, a net yardage total. It wasn't even a gross yardage total. So I thought, all right, in the first round, Uncle Mosh,
okay,
of the 1998 draft. It is draft season, for crying out loud. First round, the 1998 draft, the Oakland Raiders select. So the first round, they select my jersey, number 24.
Nice.
Charles Woodson, right?
124. First round, number 24.
First round, 24. And I thought, okay, that's pretty cool.
That's
but
good.
then, I try to anticipate backlash. I try to anticipate the questions that Raider Nation might have, the response that some of Raider Nation might have where they go, well, Murph, Charles Woodson wasn't number 24 when they drafted him. He didn't have a number yet. Well, Charles Woodson wore what number in college, Mosh? Do you remember?
2, 4, what?
Two.
2, number 2.
Charles Woodson wore number 2 in college. So for those of you that don't like 124, how about 124? Because in the first round, they drafted number 2 with the 4th overall pick.
Oh!
Yeah. How about that?
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, how about that? 124.
We don't do math, but we love us some numbers.
Ain't that the truth? All right, so Mosh, of course, we can't touch on something significant like that in Raiders history and not have a little audio to accompany it. So let's listen to Charles Woodson get drafted in the 1998 draft when the Raiders drafted in the 1, they drafted 2 with the 4.
With the 4th pick in the draft, the Oakland Raiders have selected defensive back, University of Michigan, Charles Woodson.
Chris, it's the only pick that I think the Raiders could have made. Even though the trade for Eric Allen has gone through, Eric Allen has now decided that he will report to the Raiders at the cornerback position. You still have Albert Lewis, Larry Brown, and Terry McDaniel. Larry Brown probably will be gone in a short period of time. Albert Lewis and Terry McDaniels have been there, I think, since the turn of the century. So, that's a position that was certainly a need position. Even though John Gruden, an offensive guru, comes in as head coach, you still stop people from scoring. That's the best way to win. I think it's a great addition.
Well, right. 30th overall in defense, 30 in pass defense. I think we know what's happened. And again, they have collected yet another Heisman Trophy winner. Desmond Howard now plays for him. Bo Jackson did. Marcus Allen, of course, excelled for him. Led him to a Super Bowl win over, I forgot, Joe.
Thanks,
that was. Jim Plunkett led them. I forgot, Joe. Tim Brown, a Heisman Trophy winner. And, of course, way back when, Billy Cannon, a Heisman Trophy winner who played for the Raiders in the glory days in the 60s. And by the way, what's interesting in the stands, Jet fans and Raider fans are nearby, and they're taunting each other. We haven't seen this since the 60s, since Ben Davidson and Ike Lassiter were rushing Joe Namath.
Okay, so we're going to go down the rabbit hole even further. I'm not even done with this one yet. Okay, and I promise you guys I'm done with the numbers, Bobby Wasabi.
Oh, my God, they're having a fit about you and the numbers.
I know, take a breath, Bobby Wasabi. But one of the often asked for segments on our show, one of the bits that we do is tailgating too much. And we haven't done tailgating too much in a while. And we've got a few requests for tailgating too much. And
every week from the dog.
Right. And so after listening to Paul Tagliabue announce after listening to Paul Tagliabue announce Charles Woodson with the pick, I thought, what would it sound like if our buddy Paul Tagliabue was tailgating too much?
With the 4th pick in the draft, the Oakland Raiders have selected defensive back, University of Michigan, Charles Woodson.
All right. So there's Paul Tagliabue in the gosh, Moshi. Now I'm all blown out over here, though.
No, you're not. You're the same. Oh, I like that arm shot right there.
Yeah. You get the can.
Yeah.
All right, there we go.
Okay, so
hold on. Is this better? Like, nah, it's wrong. I don't know. I'm gonna have a whatever.
Turn. There it is, right there.
Okay,
leave it alone.
Okay, all right, but no, okay. I'll have to cut this part out of the audio podcast there. All right. So anyway, there's Charles Woodson and tailgating too much. No, whoever it was. Paul Tagliabue tailgating too much.
Hey, this is Pete Koch, former Los Angeles Raider. Yeah, back in the old days, baby. And you're listening to Murph and Uncle Mosh, who happens to have the same hair as me. Check it out, Raiders Fan Radio.
All right, Uncle Mosh. Now, so we got a couple quick little stories here. Number one, I want to give a quick little clarification, Mosh. This is a Raiders Fan Radio PSA, if you will. So a public service announcement from your buddies here at Raiders Fan Radio. And that is, we've often bandied about the significance of the number. We're doing a lot of numbers today. Go figure. The significance of the number 00. And it's often said that Jim Otto was the last player to wear 00. And I've said this on our show before.
Right.
There's an important clarification that I want to make sure that we make. So that way when you're out and you're having your talks with your football friends and you're talking all things Raiders, you got to know this, Raider Nation. Jim Otto was not the last player to wear 00 in the NFL. Jim Otto was the last player to wear 00 for the Raiders.
Which is the only team that matters anyway.
That's true. But there is a player for the Houston Oilers named Ken Burrow who wore the number 00, and he wore it from 71 to 81 when he retired. Well, Jim Otto retired in 74. So just a little public service announcement for you there. Just know that, and because we've brought it up numerous times here lately on the show, and so not only did I want to correct myself, but then throw that out there to you all that the Jim Otto wore 00.
And the cool thing about that is we do a PSA for Ken Burrow, who wore number 00. But on our PSA, of course, we have a picture of Jim Otto. Yeah. So it all comes back to the Raiders.
Yeah, always. Yeah, we're not putting a picture of an Oiler on our show.
No,
heck no. All right. So here on Raiders Fan Radio, we always give respect. We always want to pay our respects. We don't do shout-outs. We don't do props, but nothing wrong with those things. But we like to give a little bit of respect. And especially when when we have somebody of significance in Raider Nation that passes on. And so we want to give respect today to Clem Daniels. Clement Daniels was a running back for the Raiders back in the AFL days. And Mosh, I knew who Clem Daniels was. In fact, Pastor Mondo, who's been on our show, has talked about Clem Daniels, that about the significance of his playing career, and of him and LaMonica and Warren Wells and all those guys of the Raiders of the AFL days. And so I knew who Clem Daniels was, but frankly, I didn't know a ton about his career. Well, here's why I want to give him respect, Raider Nation, is that not only for the time that he wore the silver and black, but Mosh, you got some of his stats, or you want to share with them his all time? Because not only is he one of the all time Raider greats, he's one of the all time AFL greats.
He had 5,101 yards on 1,134 attempts. So he was a 5-yard guy, man.
Yeah, which is a lot.
He was a 5-yard guy. And the coolest thing about him is he was the all-time leading rusher in the AFL. All time.
I didn't know that.
And that record can never be broken.
So
that's crazy cool, man.
The history of forever, Clem Daniels, man, former Raider, will be the all-time AFL rushing champ. So good stuff there. Much respect to Clem, his career, his life, and condolences to his family.
Hey, Raider Nation. I just want to say hello to Pastor Mondo of NationMinistry.net. You're listening to Raider Fan Radio with Uncle Mosh and my brother, Murph. Just win, baby.
All right. Thank you, Pastor Mondo. Pastor Mondo has such great stories of those Raiders. I mean, he's old school Raider fan, man. Goes back to the 60s Raiders, and he's got amazing stories about not only those teams and those players, but interacting and ministering to those players. Just great stuff. Still to this day. And since you played the sound clip, I'll never pass an opportunity to highlight it. Still to this day, the highest rated episode we have ever had out of 124 episodes of Raiders Fan Radio. Pastor Mondo, the second time by far, by a long shot, the most popular show we've ever done
on the podcast.
On the podcast. Not on the YouTube version, but on the podcast ratings. Yeah. But
that's crazy cool, man.
Yeah, the only and there's the rest of them are like Pete Koch is up there, Keith Smith, Andrew DePaul. Like basically it's like Phil Phillips, it's like former Raiders, and then Pastor Mondo is number 1. So it's pretty cool, man. Pretty cool stuff. So all right, so Uncle Mosh, next up here, we're going to get into some news. We're going to talk about a lot of what's going on in Raider Nation, and frankly, there's so much news to get to. We can't do a show and get to it all. It's the free agency stuff, the draft stuff. It's just bananas. So we're going to trim it down best we can, keep it concise by going to the coach, by going to the GM and listening to what those guys have to say and sharing that stuff and distilling that conversation down with you guys. So to start off, we're going to go with the owners have been having their meetings this last week down in Phoenix, and they're talking about all kinds of stuff, rule changes, and they've finally voted. So the Raiders are officially now the Oakland Raiders and whatnot. Well, the coaches are down there for a lot of this stuff, and they're doing interviews down there as well. So John Gruden sat down with Jim Trotter of NFL Network, and here's a great, if you haven't heard it yet, here's a great, it's not the entirety of it, but it's about a 3.5 minute clip of Gruden and Trotter, and it's great stuff.
You're a year back in your return, and I'm wondering what one word would describe that first year back.
Painful. It's tough. It's a tough year, no doubt, for the fans, for the players, for the coaches, and for me, but necessary. Something we had to get through, and we got through, and we're excited about the future.
So where are you now at this point in your mind?
We're on schedule. We had a great year in off-season in terms of adding free agents. We've got 4 picks in the top 35. Nobody can say that. And we've established a really good work ethic in our building. Our guys know how to prepare, how to practice, and we've got a good environment, which I'm excited about.
You brought in some high-profile players, Antonio Brown, Vontaze Burfict, guys who are known to have some baggage, either recently or in the past. How do you manage that?
I don't know what baggage Antonio Brown has that you're talking about. He's one of the most prolific receivers in football. I really don't.
Well, week 17.
Well, I mean, that's in the eyes of the beholder. You know, I don't think Brown has any baggage. I think he is the real deal. He is exactly what this team needs. A go-to clutch football player at a position that we needed. And we are so excited to have him, the energy that he brings to the practice field, to the meeting room. His preparation is legendary. I mean, this guy works as hard as Jerry Rice worked, and that's saying something.
John, let's address the rumors. There are so many out there about Derek Carr. Does John Gruden really like Derek Carr? Is he committed to him? Can you say categorically right now Derek Carr will be your quarterback in 2019?
Listen up,
yeah, he's going to be our quarterback. I'm not going to address all the rumors. I could care less about the rumors. You know, he threw for 4,100 yards, threw for almost 70% in a very dire, tough circumstance. So I got a lot of confidence in Carr, what he can do with Antonio Brown, with Tyrell Williams, with Trent Brown coming in here to help our offensive line with a better defense. Yeah, I'm excited about Carr.
But you guys are going to meet with Murray and Haskins this week, correct?
Yeah, yes we are.
And why is that?
And we're going to meet with a lot of guys at every position. We're not going to look past anybody at any position. We have the 4th pick in this draft, and we're going to make sure we get it right.
John, how close are you guys to being what you want to be, what you envision this team being?
It's too early to say. You know, we have 4 of the top 35 picks. Who do we draft? Do we make some more trades? Do we make some more additions? We're assembling a team right now. We like some of the additions that we have made. We also have a lot of needs that we need to address.
You focused on offense a lot this offseason in terms of Tyrell, Antonio, Trent Brown. In the draft, do you look to go more defense?
We'll see who's available. We still have to address numerous positions on offense and obviously on defense. So we'll see who's available when we pick. Is there a tradable player out there? I'm not going to give you all the answers right now. We've got to continue to get better. We got a ways to go, but we do have progress, and we're excited about it.
All right, Uncle Mosh, you're going to notice a common theme through a lot of this stuff. Number one, I love the comments about Antonio Brown that, look, this is not hey, look, we said this and this came true. This is not that. This is not us being boastful or, look, I told you so. That's not it. But here's what I will say about it. We figured that Coach Gruden was comfortable with Antonio Brown based on his words, legendary work ethic. And if Coach Gruden was okay with Antonio Brown, then we should be okay with Antonio Brown. And there you go. Like, that's exactly what he said, that we're good with Antonio Brown. A couple other things. He addressed the Derek Carr thing. You're going to notice a theme here as we get through these news stories and listen to these interviews. We're going to beat this thing to death one last time. And we're gonna absolutely put it to bed that Derek Carr is going to be the starting quarterback for the Oakland Raiders. He's not going to get traded. We're going to cover it, and then that's it. And we're not going to talk about it anymore because it's going to stop being
driving
a story.
Me nuts. So, earlier in the show, I said, call your friends, call your neighbors, call your peeps. Have them tune in to episode 123. The Q Dog. Have them go back and listen to some of the fun ones that we've had. I want to know why are we the only people that hear these interviews? Why does the media not hear these interviews? Are they blacked out in certain areas? Has ESPN not paid their cable bill?
I don't know.
Why do people not hear this stuff?
I don't know. You're going to hear that Gruden and Mayock consistently go out of their way to tell you that Derek Carr is their guy. And so where this stuff, why Florio and Coward and
where does that come from?
I don't know. I don't know.
Are they accusing the coach of being a liar?
Well, that's, so we have a text group going on. We're going to get into more of this later, but we have a text group going on with some of the made men. And look, and that was exactly my point to those guys last night as this was becoming a topic. I'm like, look, if they trade Derek Carr at the draft, they're going to lose all credibility, all integrity, all accountability to anything they ever say with me and a lot of Raider Nation going forward, because they're going out of their way to be explicit to tell you he's their guy. So look, we're going to get to more of that later, but last thing I want to say on Coach there and those statements, Mosh, the draft is a poker game. If you listen to everything that he just said about Carr, and then Trotter asked him, are you going to look at Kyler Murray? Yes, we are going to look at Kyler Murray. We're going to talk to Kyler Murray. We're going to visit with Kyler Murray, because he said, what did he close with there, guys? And pay attention to this stuff. What did he close with? We have options. We got a lot of things we need to address. We can move around in the draft. That's the poker game. That's why he's not going to tell you, we're not drafting a quarterback. We are absolutely, uncategorically not going to draft a quarterback ever with our fourth pick. There is no way possible we would ever do that. He's not going to say that. He wants other 31 teams to think there's a chance the Raiders might draft a quarterback. So if someone wants to leapfrog them and give the Raiders compensation, then that stays on the table. Think about this, guys. That's the game. It's a game. It's literally a game within a game. And it's a poker game. And they're not going to show their cards.
No.
Come on, man.
It's crazy. And my favorite thing he said was 4 little words. Care less about the rumors.
There you go. That's it,
Bank on it, man.
Bank on it, guys.
Jeez.
All right. So next up, I got a few more for you here. So now let's listen to Coach at the coach's breakfast. Now at the owners meeting that morning, all the coaches gather up and they have breakfast, and the reporters are allowed to just kind of come around while these guys are eating their hash browns and ask them questions. And so let's listen to Coach over that.
This guy's caught 100 passes or more, I think 6 years in a row. He plays his best football in big games. Last time I was at Oakland, we had Jerry Rice and Tim Brown on the same team. It was a lot of fun. And I'm really excited personally to have an opportunity to join forces and coach Antonio Brown. It's a great responsibility, one that I don't take lightly.
And speaking of which, what do you think about returning to the Coliseum?
Yeah, I'm happy to hear that. To me, I don't know what was so hard about that. We're the Oakland Raiders.
Aside from his talent, when you guys had talks about his time in Pittsburgh in Week 17, what was it that made you feel comfortable bringing him in there and not worry about any of that stuff?
I have no problem with it. I mean, you got to be kidding me. We get Antonio Brown, I'll walk to Pittsburgh to get him. I mean, I don't have any problem with one aspect of Antonio Brown. I don't know who does or why they would.
Coach, with all the moves you guys made in free agency, to still have the amount of draft capital that you do, and Mayock has said openly you're going to be aggressive there as well. What does that say about what you're building towards the future of this franchise?
Well, that was our plan, honestly. I mean, we lost a couple good players, really good players last year, and we acquired some draft picks, and we also acquired a lot of space to sign Trent Brown, Antonio Brown, LaMarcus Joyner. We don't sign any of these players if we don't have the cap space to get that done. So it's a double-edged sword for us. We needed the draft capital to get younger, to get young, emerging players.
Pounding the table.
And we needed the cap space to add Trent Brown, Antonio Brown, Burfict, the men that we did, because we felt we had a lot of needs, and we're doing the best we can to address as many as possible.
All right, here we go, Mosh. Good stuff from Coach there. Once again, just look, we have a list here. We have some callers that are going to bring it up later. We ran a list of the free agents that the Raiders have signed. So with the $90 million of guaranteed for Khalil Mack, and with the draft picks we acquired for that trade, and obviously for Cooper and whatnot, we've signed now Antonio Brown, Jordan Devey, Nevin Lawson, Curtis Riley, Tyrell Williams, Josh Morrow, Mike Glennon, Trent Brown, Vontaze Burfict, LaMarcus Joyner, and J.J. Nelson, all for like $10 million more than one guy would have cost us. And for the people that are out there saying, oh yeah, but the Raiders could have done all that and paid for him this year. Yeah, but not next year, because while Khalil Mack's salary only accounts for $11 million to the cap this year, it accounts for $26 million against the cap next year. There is no way these guys end up Raiders unless the Raiders make the move that they made last year. And it was tough. And it sucked, but it had to be done. And now we're finally seeing this thing play out. And so good for Coach to stick to his guns, and glad to hear him confirm all that for us there at the coaching.
Oh my God. And and I love what he said, and we'll hear more about it, but when he talks about Antonio Brown, he says he gets excited when he talks about him. He says, he even said, I get excited because of where this guy came from. The 6th round, he wasn't even a Division I athlete, and he says he did it the hard way. That's saying something, man. That's the kind of grit and guts that we need on that team.
Absolutely,
man. And he deflects. Mike, you'll say he deflects the question about Week 17, but he's like, whatever. I don't care.
I wasn't there for it.
I wasn't there. Whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. And we talked about this with Capo last week. Ben Roethlisberger is pardon my French, bleep me, he's a jerk off, man. He's Ben Roethlisberger is a kind of a scummy individual. Like, he's not a good teammate.
He always was.
And he always was. And now this stuff is really coming to light.
What did Q said levels of being a puke or levels of being a loser or something. I don't remember what his acronym or his
jerkness or something.
Jerkness. I don't know. But it was please. Yeah,
so anyway, who knows why all that stuff went down? And look, it was not Antonio Brown singularly acting out against the team. Yes, it's quote quitting on your team. Even that's subjective. So I don't know. I'm glad he's a Raider. He's embraced being a Raider. The coaches love him. The quarterback loves him. So guess what? I love him. You know what I mean? Like, he's ours now. We love him.
Yeah, he is. Come on.
We love him.
Who you got next? You got Mayock
next,
right?
up. We got Mike Mayock at the owners' meeting this week.
Now, with news of the approval for the stadium lease and the extension in Oakland, how big of a weight does that lift off of you guys? And does that help you focus more on the season ahead?
I don't know if it helps us focus, but I know that since I got here, all John and I have been talking about to the ownership is bus rides, no plane rides to home games. So John and I are both very relieved.
Last I saw you before this annual meeting was free agency craziness, AB coming to Oakland. Now that the dust has settled there, what have the conversations been like with Antonio?
All I see is a guy that's eager and interested to please. He's been great in the building. He and Derek Carr have been bonding it's just crazy. They're working out with their kids for dinner. I mean, it's really been cool watching him integrate himself kind of into the fabric of our building.
moving now forward to the draft, as you look ahead to those practices, we see you out at the pro days. You're literally on the ground, still clocking guys. So you don't shift out of that mindset, huh?
I get fired up. The players excite me. The coaches out there of the college programs, you get a little insight from those guys. And at the end of the day, I feel like it helps me do my job better.
As you look ahead to the season, now it's becoming more real. What is the mindset? What is perhaps the logo or slogan you're permeating throughout your staff?
Well, I mean, the mindset is we're the worst team in that division. You know, let's acknowledge who we are, where we've been. We've been to one playoff in 16 years, and the mindset's got to be we're trying to bring new talent in on one side, but we're trying to build a team on the other, and that's the harder part of talent evaluation and acquisition is actually building a football team, and that happens with talent and character. So we care about foundation players that will make a difference off the field as well as on.
Appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mike Mayock does not shy away from what the Raiders are.
Jeez.
He does not shy away from the needs that we have as a football team. He does not shy away from that stuff. And his idea of, look, football teams are built upon foundations, not on singular players. That's just the way that it works. And while it sucks to have your favorite player sent off, Mark McGuire to St. Louis, Ricky Henderson to New York, Kenny Stabler to the Houston Oilers.
Oh, my God. Reggie to the Yankees.
Right. Like, I mean, while it sucks to have your favorite players get traded away, look, Chris Webber to the freaking Kings. I mean, I can go on and on. It happens, but you got to trust that the guys that are calling the shots are going to build the team. We've got to be Raider fans first and foremost. And look, Q-Dog says it in the chat there that Mayock is a godsend. Not only do I agree with him in terms of his personnel moves, but I'm not going to pick on Reggie, and this is the last time I'm going to say it, but I got to bring it up at least one more time because now that you're back, Mosh, having a GM that's out front in public, doing interviews, having conversations, being public instead of just coming out once a year and with Mark Davis and making a statement like Reggie did. I love this that Mike Mayock has some broadcaster in him. I dig it.
So I think what part of the problem is, Murph, is that so many different teams and so many different coaches and so many different GMs and blah, 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 have always done the cursory, it's after the game, we got to go do our interview. You know, we got to go do this, and we have to go do that. Our guys are transparent. Our guys are saying, this is what we're doing. This is great point. Now, we're not going to tell you how we're going to kick your ass, but we're going to kick your ass. So be ready for it because the butt whipping is coming.
Yeah.
You know, and these are the steps that we've taken, and we're pretty so I think nation as a whole, I think they're starting to come around, but I think they're so used to the what's the subtext, what's the underlying meaning, what's Jack Del Rio, what do you really think, you know? And here you got these two guys, you got Coach and you got Mayock going, no, this is what we're doing, this is our quarterback, this is why we traded this guy. We got 11 players for $10 million over what one wanted, 11 for one. You got an entire team for one guy.
Yeah.
You know, okay.
Yeah. Great.
You know,
great point, Mosh, is that we've, because even Al was kind of under the veil of secrecy at times, and not even at times, a lot of times, and so for us as Raider fans, we're not conditioned here lately to this type of communication. And so I could see where, it might be out of people's comfort zone, but look, Raider Nation, man, embrace it because this is what it's all about. So, so great stuff there from Coach and from Mayock. I've got a couple more from Mayock, but before we get to that, I want to hit on, we rail against a lot of the big-time media guys, whether it's Stephen A. or it's Florio or it's Mike Silver or Lombardi or whatever. There's a whole big list of Raider haters that are in the media, even Greg Papineau, sadly. But there are some that do have our back. There are some guys, Gottlieb is one that's pretty good. And when I say have our back, I'm not talking about being a Raider apologist. I'm not talking about JT the Brick, okay? JT the Brick is in like we're in. He's an unapologetic Raider fan.
Absolutely.
And there's nothing wrong with that. So
he's ate up with silver and black.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's like being a Republican and watching Fox News. It's like that's your people. They're gonna say what you want to hear, right? Okay. So or CNN on the what other side, to be all fairness, right? I don't want to make us pull about politics.
Just get on with your point. We don't care about fair.
My point is that but there are some guys though that are pretty balanced for the most part and just have called this thing like we're seeing a lot of things. And I think that in fairness to people like that, I want to highlight one. Adam Shine, who is on Sirius XM, had a little run about Derek Carr and about his significance to the Raiders. So let's listen to Adam Shine from XM. I keep messing that up. From Sirius XM.
Derek Carr is a franchise quarterback. I'm taking Mike Mayock at his word. I think Mike Mayock knows when he looks at that roster with a fresh set of eyes, after all those years being an outstanding analyst for the NFL Network, and now he's the general manager for the Oakland Raiders. I think he looks at the roster, looks at the team, and says, all right, we've got these 3 first-round picks. Derek Carr is a franchise quarterback, and at least for now, we're going to sell this internally and believe it that he's our franchise quarterback. Derek Carr has played at an MVP level. The Oakland Raiders have so many damn needs, from running back to the entire defense. The Raiders should not draft Kyler Murray. The Raiders, and they've got 3 first-round picks, in a draft that is filled with unbelievable defensive ball players, they should be thinking defense. Derek Carr is absolutely unequivocally a franchise quarterback. There are 2 types of teams in the NFL, those that have a quarterback and those that don't. The Raiders have a quarterback. The Raiders have a franchise quarterback. Derek Carr is a franchise quarterback, and he should be a Raider for life. I firmly believe that. You don't, just like with the Lions, you don't mess around with Matthew Stafford. You don't mess around with Derek Carr. Gruden is there to maximize Carr. So I don't want to hear Kyler Murray. I don't want to hear ship Derek Carr for a second-round pick. You don't sell low on Derek Carr. Derek Carr is the franchise quarterback for your Oakland Raiders.
Come on, Adam Shine.
Jeez.
How good is that?
And you know, I like what he intimated about Mayock. He's like, give the man an opportunity to say what he needs to say, and until he goes against that, why not take the man at his word?
Absolutely.
Take him at his word until he does what you said earlier, goes against what he said, and then you have a reason to doubt him. But until then, shut the hell up and listen to what the man says.
Absolutely. Because you know what? We'll be the first ones calling them out. Not that they care whether we call them out or not, but we'll be the first ones to be like, bruh, what happened?
Yeah.
Like, what? I thought he was our guy. Like,
and we would call up that audio. Remember?
Absolutely.
Hey,
keep
Mike,
everything.
Remember when you said?
Yeah. I keep everything, and we will definitely call it out should they say they go against it. So, all right, I got one more for you. I actually got 2 more for you. One that's
Speaking of Mike,
here we got back to Mike Mayock. Now this is from the Combine, so this is now going back a few weeks. But again, listen to the message.
Well, I mean, we've got a young quarterback that we think's a franchise quarterback that's going to be 28 years old in March. So we're pretty happy with where we are. We feel like we're pretty good at the quarterback position.
All right. Did you hear that? Okay. So look, now this is not all taken from one interview with these 2 guys. These are multiple interviews over multiple weeks. Every time Gruden and Mayock get an opportunity to state that Derek Carr is their quarterback, they do.
Yep.
So Uncle Mosh, I got to ask you, do you understand? Do you comprende? Do you capiche? Does this make sense that Derek Carr is going to be our quarterback?
Give me one more.
I don't think there are very few people walking around that are better than Derek Carr.
Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
I don't think there are very few people walking around that are better than Derek Carr.
Jesus, am I speaking Chinese?
I don't think there are very few people walking around that are better than Derek Carr.
Comprende.
I don't think there are very few people walking around that are better than Derek Carr.
Don't you get it?
I don't think there are very few people walking around that are better than Derek Carr.
Capiche?
All right. Let's talk about the draft.
Here is latest draft.
There's a draft!
Today's our draft.
Watch out for drafts.
This is the NFL draft.
The first draft.
Look, I'm entering a draft.
He's going pro in the draft.
You're going to the draft? Surefire first round draft pick.
Draft looks solid.
Good luck with the draft.
they drafted me.
Apparently you were drafted.
I drafted you. I got drafted.
Another successful draft.
Yeah. Shallow draft.
Draft picks.
It's my third draft. You only get drafted once.
Well, it's draft day.
Let's talk about the draft.
This is going to be the worst draft yet.
It's our draft.
You drafted me in the first round.
Number one draft choice, signed a big contract.
Excellent draft.
Nashville Day. Nashville Day. Nashville Day.
You want to shout out the chat there, Mosh?
Oh my gosh! Thank you, Joseph. It's pretty funny. You know, you all know that I'm not so good on these social media stuff. You know, I'm having a hard time keeping up and typing and everything. And Joseph says Mosh is the and I couldn't understand why he had a picture of a rabbit. I'm like, what does that mean? Was it about my hair?
It's a goat, Mosh. It's a goat.
Thanks, Joseph. Now that my nephew explained it to me, I appreciate the sentiment.
Appreciate that, Joseph, and everybody else in the chat, as always.
Oh, my gosh.
You guys rock. Let's see. Aaron Q-Dog Raider, Irish Raider, Pirate 1975, Joseph Duran, William Wilson, Sergio Burros, Raider Critique, Ron the Wrench, Chris Rubio, Eye Patch, Raider
Joseph
Homer.
Morales, Stoned Raider. There's a bunch of Raider riches there. Yeah,
absolutely. Great stuff. All right, so we'll this is a request hour here on Raiders Fan Radio. Raider Critique asked us to play that one more time. So we're going to go back to the draft, but I'll play this Mike Mayock understand bit one more time.
I don't think there are very few people walking around that are better than Derek Carr.
Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
I don't think there are very few people walking around that are better than Derek Carr.
Jesus, am I speaking Chinese?
I don't think there are very few people walking around that are better than Derek Carr.
Comprende.
I don't think there are very few people walking around that are better than Derek Carr.
Don't you get it?
I don't think there are very few people walking around that are better than Derek Carr.
Capiche?
All right, capiche.
So good, capiche.
Capiche.
Hey,
the Paul Silas one is the best. Speaking Chinese, that's the best.
Speaking of me and my ineptness,
okay,
on social media.
Nah, you're not inept.
I'm getting there.
You're getting there.
Okay, it's the fat fingers. I can't keep hitting. I hit 9 numbers.
You hit.
Yeah, that's why I do voice text.
Yeah, and and thankfully nowadays, voice to text is pretty accurate.
Oh my!
Back in the day,
I used to send you a message. I'd say, Murph, basketball over to the spider by the drain spout, and you'd be like, "What?" And I'm like, "You want to watch the game?" But so. My question is that since we're going to talk about the draft and the update and the app and all that, have I signed up for anything yet?
No, no, you haven't. And I need to clear up something. So I'm glad you brought that up. So as far as the draft app goes, so if you're coming to the draft, you're coming to Nashville to join us. And if you're coming to Nashville to join us for the draft, and then you're just going to kind of go to the draft maybe too.
Right.
I mean, we know you're coming into town to be part of our live stream. But if you want to make that other draft part of it part of your trip too, I mean, I guess you could do
okay.
I mean, I guess you could do
and
that.
we're going to do that, right? Maybe?
Yeah, we're going to go to the draft. All right, so to go to the draft, you got to have an app. So if you're coming to the draft, you're going to the draft. If you're coming to the draft, you got to have an app on your phone. It's an e-ticket, and the way that you get it is by going to it's the Fan Mobile Pass is what it's called, and you can find it on your Play Store, Google, iTunes, whatever your Play Store is, and you register for it. Now, I announced this last week, and I had some people say to me, well, Murph, I registered for it. I didn't get anything. Well, I should have clarified. You register for the app. You don't get the app until April 8th. So for those of you that are on the YouTube feed there, you see starting April 8th, you download and log in the Fan Mobile Pass app. So you register for the Fan Mobile Pass. Then you download it on April 8th, and then you just, once you're on site, it says there you join the virtual line inside the Pass app, and then you get access with that notification. It will send you a QR code, I assume, or something that they will scan you in. And
oh, sorry.
This is
you lost me on app.
No, we're not talking about chicken fingers and butterfly.
Oh man, I got all excited about milk bones.
All right, so get the damn app. All right, so as far as our meetup goes, which again, as we know, that's why you're really coming. Please go to where am I sending people?
So, yeah.
Our Facebook page. Go to our Facebook page. Let us know you're coming. There's over 30 now confirmed that are coming. Please let us know because we have to let the venue know how many folks we're going to have. There's no extra cost. It doesn't take a ticket or anything. We just need to let them know how many we're going to have. We're going to be at the Bavarian Beer House, and we're going to broadcast Raiders Fan Radio Live. Aaron the Q-Dog Raider will be there. We're going to have a lot of the other made men will be there as well. So we're going to broadcast. We're going to live stream. We're going to talk about the first 2 days of the draft. We're going to have a big old time. It should be a lot of fun. So please come and join us for that and go to our Facebook page, Raiders Fan Radio Podcast, and let us know you're coming that way. And I've got some cool news as far as our event goes, Mosh.
Okay, hit us.
So our buddy Jeff at Dead Pirate Sports. Remember Jeff?
Oh, yeah, we love Jeff.
Right. Jeff sold Dead Pirate Sports. He's no longer in the Dead Pirate Sports business. There are some other folks that are still individually running his business or whatever. I'm not quite sure exactly. But for the most part, Jeff and his involvement in the business is sold off. He's moving on to some other ventures. Well, he sends me a text one day and he goes, "Hey, Murph, I've sold Dead Pirate Sports. I got a bunch of extra stuff. I got a bunch of merch.
Nice.
You want a box of books?" And I go,
yeah.
Okay. I go, sure. And he goes, "I know you love that Al Davis book. You want a box of books." So this book that I'm holding up here, Al Davis, Behind the Raiders Shield by Bruce Kebrick, John Kingdon.
An amazing read.
Steve Corcoran. Fantastic read. Jeff sent us a box of these books. So I got like 10 copies of this book.
So we got giveaways for our event.
And even better than that, I reached out to our buddy Steve Corcoran, the third of those authors, right, of Steve Corcoran of the Contra Costa Times, and asked Steve if he was coming to the draft. He said, "I'm not sure if I'm coming yet, but if I do, we will definitely link up." And I said, "I got a box of your books. Would you mind doing a signing?" And he said, "Not at all." So
wow,
I don't know if he's going to be at our thing or if we're going to meet him out somewhere and have him sign these things. But one way or another, if you're coming, the first of you that show up, we're going to give you at a minimum a copy of this book, probably an autographed copy of it, and maybe a chance to have Corcoran autograph it, personalize it, and give it to you in person.
Wow,
How cool
amazing.
Is that? Isn't that fun?
That is so cool.
Yeah.
You know, speaking of cool stuff, people are talking, we get all the time, we get asked, when's the next shirt coming? When's the next shirt coming? When's the next shirt coming? Well,
yes.
We have been to, you and I have met with the printer.
Yes.
We had a little font issue, but our guy is going to get it the way we want it, and the shirts will be available. Also, they're in time for the draft.
Awesome.
And then we'll let you know as soon as the second they hit our house, the second they hit here in Murph's Fan Cave, they will they'll go up for sale.
We'll get them up on the website and get them ready to go.
And we might do some fun stuff with the pricing that way, so that and they've always been a great price, but we're gonna do some stuff where we possibly can take some of might up our price a smidge, but that money that is the extra money that you're gonna pay, we're gonna turn right around and donate that to the Bolitnikoff Foundation.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely,
it's going to be an awesome thing.
Absolutely. So like our Raiders Fan Radio T-shirts were like $20, I think, before. So you might pay $20. We don't know what the exact price is going to be, $25, $30, whatever it is. But then yes, as Mosh mentioned, we're going to give it to Bolitnikoff. So please continue to support us so we can support them.
There he is, fading, looking. He's under the gun. He's caught, he throws. It is.
He caught it.
All right, the favorite part of our show is, of course, the Sea of Fans mailbag. This is where you contact us at either calling the show at 909-345-3346. You can leave us a voicemail. If we play your message 3 times, you become a made man or a made woman here on the show, and you can represent on those new shirts that say "Get Made," and that's what it's in reference to, is that becoming. And I had a few people actually ask this week, "What is that?" What does that mean? Well, it's a term of respect. It's a term of in the Italian gentleman businessman community.
Yeah. You know, I was last week. I was on spring break a little bit.
You're on spring break.
A little spring break.
Yeah. So you become.
And I do a little casino sports.
Hey.
When I'm on spring
you like to throw
break.
the dice.
I throw the dice, and I had a pretty good run. One of my better runs.
Nice.
And I happened to be wearing the new shirt.
The Get Made shirt.
The Get Made shirt. And I had more comments on that.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
What were people saying? Were they asking, what does that mean?
Hey, what is that? Can I have one of those red chips? It's like, no, they were. It was because most folks recognize the shield, and then, the true football people.
Yeah.
And then it was like, what does that mean? And of course, it gave me an opportunity to pass out one of our cards and talk about the show, and and then of course went into what we do and how we're kind of we're a totally 100% fan based thing, and I broke down when they would stick around and talk to me because me, I'll talk to a rock, but but it was a good time. It was a catchy thing. That's what does that mean? What does that mean?
Oh, nice. Right.
Yeah, it was cool.
So there you go, Raider Nation. So when you're rocking one of our new shirts, be ready to answer that about what that Get Made is. And that's, again, it's a term of respect. It means you're just kind of elevated. And of course, we elevate all of Raider Nation. But for those of you that call in and join us by participation, we want to highlight you and give our respect to you by denoting you a made man or made woman. So the other way that you can contact us, the best way to get it featured on the show is to email us. And you can email us at show@RaidersFanRadio.com, and we read all your emails there. A lot of our overseas listeners like to contact the show that way, and the fabulous Uncle Mosh, that's your bag over there. That's your mail bag.
Yeah,
is reading the awesome emails that we get from Raider Nation. So what do we got this week?
Well, it's kind of funny that Paul is from Mississippi.
Yeah.
And that's where I was. I spent a couple days down there. There's a little band of casinos right south of Memphis that I like to go to, and I didn't run into Paul from Shropshire, but he's always the first one I like to read. And he starts off with, "Good evening, gentlemen. A sad note to start on the week. Condolences to the family and friends of Clem Daniels, a Raider before my time, but Raider Nation loves and respects our history. So God bless you, sir, and thank you. I'm trying really hard at the minute not to get overexcited by what's going on with the Raiders, but I can't remember being this happy going into a draft. Has there ever been a stronger position than ours as of right now?" Side note, I can't think of one.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I mean, we've had some really good first rounders, but this is
strong.
huge.
Yeah.
So it's difficult to imagine, back to his letter, not being able to pick well from the first couple of rounds, and there's a real possibility that a number of this year's star class will be heading west. All this will supplement what I believe has been a brilliant free agency. Quality and depth is being added all the time, so that's why I'm making a bold early statement, and here's that early statement. The best signing we've made this year is Mike Mayock.
Oh, nice, Paul.
Nice.
Nicely done.
When you listen to him talk along with Coach Gruden, how could you not want to play for them? I firmly believe Mayock could sell ice to Eskimos. There are a few visits to the facility taking place again this week, including Kyler Murray, Dwayne Haskins, so stand by for more uneducated media around D.C. It's an interesting plan that's unfolding, though, and as I write, we've signed Landry Jones at QB, so those spring practice sessions are going to be fun. Still no news on Beast Mode re-signing, but just because we don't know anything doesn't mean the powers that be don't know what's going on. If one of the positions we want to strengthen is in running back, then why show our hand with a big Marshawn announcement in advance of the draft? Golly, he's dead. Paul's dead on.
Yeah, he's doing
Finally,
good.
I'm disappointed that Jared Cook's leaving us, but I get why it's happening. So he's got a choice to make now between the Saints and the Patriots. I wish him well if he goes to the Saints. Love to your Raider Nation. Thanks for your work and passion as always, guys. Regards, Paul Egerton from Shropshire, Mississippi. Proud made man and one-time winner of the Raiders Fan Radio Sizzler Award.
Love it. Great email. I mean, he always brings it with the emails. Paul's always got the good ones, but man, he hit on some good stuff there. So I know a lot of folks have been asking about Marshawn. Look, Marshawn's not coming back to play for any other team than the Oakland Raiders.
Nope.
Gruden has already extended the invitation to him that there's a spot there to be had for him at a minimum for training camp. And we all agree that Marshawn needs the proper swan song, right? He needs to have that last year in Oakland, and so I think I don't want to call it a done deal, but it's just about a done deal. All right, Mosh, what else we got?
So, hey, Murph, I was wondering how you feel about the media. Is it still asking about Derek Carr not being a quarterback for the Raiders? I would just like to interject here. All you got to do is listen to this podcast.
Yeah, I know, right? Rewind about 40 minutes.
I believe he's the best we have. Gruden has surrounded him with top-notch talent, and he has been in Gruden's system for 1 year already. I'm not going to lie. I hated him last year. But if you think about it, he had no blockers and no wideouts. Also, no defense didn't help. That's why it was a disaster last year. I admire you guys for sticking up for him all the time because he's going to have his breakout season this year. Go Raiders. And I don't know who sent that. It wasn't signed.
Oh, let me see. Is that Leo? That might have been Leo. I think that was Leo.
Was that Leo?
Yeah,
okay,
I think that was Leo, and that's back-to-back weeks for Leo. And so appreciate Leo reaching out to us and sending us an email here on Raiders Fan Radio. Keep them coming, Leo. Appreciate it, man. And we since that was 2 for Leo.
A couple, that's a couple.
Leo might.
We'll have to get with Capo and we'll look at it.
Yeah,
and we'll
I think
see
we might. You might be going towards made man status there, Leo. Keep them coming, my friend.
Hey, Murph and Mosh, got a few questions for the next show, so here goes. With all the moves the Raiders have made, what is the biggest need at the moment? Then Gronk has retired, but lots of his teammates thinks he'll be back before the season starts, but it might not be with New England. How would you feel if Gronk became a Raider? Which running back would you like reassigned, Lynch or Martin? I'm sorry, re-signed.
Okay.
Do you guys think the jerseys will change when we move?
Ooh,
not a big
question.
change, but maybe have the shield on it. Man, that's
a great
3
question.
months. That's a whole 90-minute session right there, dude.
Yeah. Who was that?
Great questions. Let me see. That's Ronan Murray.
Ronan Murray. Good job, Ronan. Appreciate
Good job, man.
All right, so
God, a lot of.
I would go. I don't think Gronk's coming out of retirement to play for the Raiders. I think he's only going to come out of retirement to play for Tom Brady. Just like we said about Marshawn, he's only coming out of retirement to play for one team.
That's right. That's right.
And there's just speculation. Is this a thing that Gronk's trying to do just so he can get out of camp? What? I don't know. But if he comes back, I don't think he would come back to be a Raider. If he did, sure. I love Gronk. I think he's great.
Yeah.
He's got Raider written all over him. Like he's a 70s Raider in a nutshell. So yes on that. You know what we feel about Marshawn already. And in terms of the uniform, that's curious. The Raiders have never done much in terms of tinkering with the uniform. They've tinkered with the logo. They've tinkered with some of the way that the numbers are displayed. But it's been very minimal over the years. So I'm going to go off of the track record from I forget what year they changed the uniforms. In 60, when they became a team, they were like maroon and gold or something.
Sure.
I don't forget what year they became the silver and black, but somebody in the chat knows, and you guys are smarter than we are anyways. But from whenever that was to now, the uniform has changed very, very, very small increments. So I'm going to trust that history and say that, yeah, I don't even see a patch. I don't even see
No.
I don't even see that. I think it's just going to keep being silver and black.
Absolutely.
And
it's part of the mystique, dude.
Yeah.
And I love what Chris Potts says. 5 easy words. Don't F with the jerseys.
Yes. That's
Seriously.
Seriously.
Don't F with the jerseys.
Yeah. There's some teams you just don't like. I don't. There's a reason we don't have a secondary logo. You look at so many teams in the league have secondary. There's a reason we don't have a secondary logo because we don't need one.
Yeah. No, seriously.
You know what I mean?
And my as far as Gronk goes, I don't even know where he's from.
Arizona, I think.
Okay.
He's where he played school ball. Anyway.
Okay, so where does he live? Is he relocated out east? Has he, I don't know, but he doesn't have any ties to Oakland.
No, I don't think so.
Not that I know of.
Not that I'm aware of. And the guy, look at it. He's kind of playing with a piano on his back there for a lot of the last year. Like this is not the Gronk of 2012 or whatever. You know what I mean? Like guys had 11 seasons in the NFL. It's a nice, fun little thing to kick around, but I don't think there's.
Yeah, I love what Haley said. Gronk is never coming back. Get real.
There you go. And Haley has spoken.
Drop the mic. That's it. All right. So Houston Steve sent me an email.
Oh no. Okay.
Yeah,
we got a call from him in a minute too.
And he knew I'd been out, so he sent this email and says, "Tell Mosh that I drank Buckhorn beer only once. You got a case of it for $1.50."
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I drank Coors and especially Old Milwaukee, always cheap, or Miller in a bottle. That's what me and your dad used to drink.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The genuine, not
genuine draft. Yeah,
or just a Miller High Life.
Miller High Life.
Yeah.
And I used to tell your dad, I'd say, "Well, why aren't we drinking light?" And he goes, "Excuse me." Yeah. In the Midwest, I remember when I lived in Iowa, Pabst Blue Ribbon was huge. It was popular. But in all reality, the first beer I ever drank was an Olympia.
Nice.
Yeah.
A Washington, I assume, beer maybe?
I don't know. I got it down at Vintage Liquors on Bascom Avenue. But yeah. But awesome. No kidding. Most of us had charge accounts at Vintage Liquors.
No,
and I remember.
Is that real?
That's a real thing. I remember this is the best story. Your Uncle Murph, your namesake, had a charge account for so many years at Vintage Liquors that when he turned 21, he went in there to pay his bill, and he goes, "Hey, I got to show you something." And the guy goes, "What's that, Murph?" And he's like, "Look, it's my birthday." And the guy goes, "All right, get you a 6-pack." And he looks at his ID and he goes, "You're just now 21. Yeah, but anyway.
Awesome.
All right, I digress.
All right, you got more. You got more emails.
Anyway, Houston Steve goes
Houston
on.
Steve. Okay, all right.
And he tells me to watch out for the deer mosh, and he wants to buy a Made Man shirt.
All right, deal.
Woo! We had a bunch of them. Okay, my last one's a long one.
It's a long one.
Uh-huh.
All right, let me get the camera on you, and I'm gonna.
All right, hey Murph.
I'm gonna go grab one of my my pansy waters.
Oh, jeez, you and that sissy water. Hey Murph, welcome back, Uncle Mosh. Eye Patch writing in to discuss a few things, new signing we recently made. First, let me say hello to all Raider Nation made men and to Q-Dog the Capo, and to say what a super job he did as a surprise guest last week. Absolutely. Outstanding job and great insight on the draft. Obviously, I can't get all the moves we've made lately. I think a revolving door has been installed in Mayock's office. That's funny. The Browns signing, to be honest, I was a little weary of him as a so-called prima donna wide receiver, troublemaker, malcontent, etc. That seemed a bit much. But the more I listen and read up on him, his biggest beef was the way he was treated by the organization and their policy for not extending contracts, which they did for Big Ben. So it's more office stuff than field stuff. Him and Bell were both disgusted by this. Also, his dealing with Roethlisberger, calling him and other teammates out in public. Let me say this. He will not have those issues with Carr that he had with Ben. Carr is as classy as they come. He never called out his receivers for dropping passes, and there were plenty of opportunities. He never threw the linemen under the bus after all the sacks, and there were plenty of opportunities. Yeah. So the respect, excitement, and appreciation Carr and Brown have shown towards each other seems genuine. Good point. Okay. So, the perfect signing. I love it. He already knows Gunther's system. He brings some nastiness and swagger to the silver and black. The guy's a true Raider. He could have played with Hendricks, Alzado, and Tatum and the rest of the Renegades of yesteryear.
Right on.
I'm really hyped up for this guy on our side. Okay, next one. The LaMarcus Joyner signing. He is a fast, good cover man, especially on the slot, but where is his size? I thought they were looking for a big safety. Our secondary is like the land of the Lilliputians.
I think that's the first time Lilliputians has ever been uttered on radio.
Lilliputians ever been on our show.
That's awesome.
Others, and we're getting down to the end of this. Trent Brown, big man, a lot of money, but can he play in Cable's system is a question. I think Cable is a question on his own, but that's for another day. Tyrell Williams, I think he's a good pick and will excel with Brown getting so much attention. Whew. I was going to call in, he finishes up with, But with all this on my mind, I figured I would get cut off. It's like being on the Chuck Barris show. See how long you can last before J.P. Morgan grabs the baton and bangs away on the gong. All you youngsters might not get what I'm talking about, but Mosh might remember that show, The Gong Show, baby.
Oh, yeah.
Read Chuck Barris's book, by the way. It's amazing. One last thing I found amusing this week while listening to the Dan Le Batard show, they have a look-alike segment. One of them was that John Elway's starting to look like crazy Gary Busey. Until next week, keep up the great work, fellas, and go Raiders.
Oh, my gosh. Awesome. That's from our buddy Eye Patch down there in Florida. And Eye Patch, he's going to join us for the draft. He'll be up here. We'll get to get him on air and have him join the broadcast live. That's, man, so much in that. I don't know how to build on that, Mosh. He did such a great job himself, man. That was awesome.
No building.
Great job. And
we got calls to get to, bro.
We got calls to get to, so let's get to them. So appreciate all the emails. Keep them coming. Show at RaidersFanRadio.com. And if you want to be a caller, 909-345-3346. If you call us, leave a message. You get it played 3 times. You become a made man. And the made man of the made men is the one and only Aaron, the Q-Dog Raider. We call him the Capo. And here's his call from the Capo this week.
Greetings, Aaron, your Q-Dog Raider, coming to you from the great state of Texas with lots of enthusiasm. Mosh, Money, Sonny, Murph, Lil Murph. Listen, I'm resigning myself to the fact that we may not get Josh Allen as anticipated. However, Quentin Williams is starting to grow on me. I mean, in a lot of projections, this guy has been hailed as the number 1 overall prospect. So you know what? If that's what happens, it happens. But what's not going to happen is us taking this quarterback. There's a lot of scuttle. When I watched ESPN mock draft with Mel Kiper, my dear friend, and McShay, they hardly agree on anything, but they both had us taking Quentin Williams out of Alabama, defensive tackle, with the number 4 pick, because I think we're going to get screwed by the JETS, who gives a damn. But my thing is, we absolutely cannot go after a quarterback. There's been a lot of rumors being put out there more and more frequently over the past couple of days. We're going to take this guy Locke out of Mizzou. Listen, I don't want anybody that can't beat the University of Kentucky in football on their home field as a team and have them come in and try to lead the vaunted silver and black. It's just not going to happen. I want to thank you for allowing me to be your co-host, and Robin, your Batman last week. People really don't know what goes into this show, all the research, all the back channel organization, regardless of whether or not the internet connection is good. Screw AT&T. This is Q-Dog Raider. I'm out. Hit list. We'll go ahead and stick with our punter. Brew?
All right, great job, Aaron, the Q-Dog Raider, man. Aaron's great. Did such a, I know I said it earlier, I'm going to say it again, did such an awesome job in filling in for Mosh, and he's a lot of fun to hang out with, and we had a great time. And appreciate the kind words, man. You know, we look at this as a show, and shows are produced, and to produce a show, it takes a lot of work.
It takes a lot of work.
We
man.
put a lot of time into it.
Yeah. It's a labor of love for sure.
Absolutely.
You know, it's what we do.
Absolutely. All right. So great job, Aaron. Always good to hear from you. And all right. So our first call this week from the Made Men, we're going to go hear from our buddy Junior in San Diego.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Junior from San Diego. Let me be the first to say I've been seeing these mock drafts, and everybody's saying we're going to pick up Bozo. I mean, let me be the first one to say,
Bozo.
No on Bozo. Please. The guy's going to want to fix his contract, hold out for money, just like all his brother did, and probably his dad. They're all coaching him. No on Bozo. Please. Another thing is, I just saw Burfict signing. Awesome pickup. He is our Romo today. We need the killer instincts. He causes penalties, but come on. Like you said, he's not out there playing patty cake, you know what I mean? We need some killer mentality, and he's the best guy. I think, heck yeah, on the signing. Antonio and Derek are best of friends right now, and hope he keeps it up, get the timing down, etc. I saw on the news conference when Chucky was asked about the comparison to Amari and Antonio, and he raised the eye, like, he made the guy ask it again, like pretty much making fun of it, like, we're not going to talk about it, you know. There's no comparison. Amari didn't didn't have the skills that Antonio possesses. This guy, he's probably going to be double. He's going to catch it and go to the end zone each time he catches the ball. So anyway, just want to say hi. Keep up the great work, and we'll talk to you soon. Okay, go Raiders. Bye.
All right, great job there, Junior in San Diego. So, Mosh, he talked about Vontaze Burfict bringing a little bit of attitude back to the Raiders defense, harking back to like somebody like a Bill Romanowski. That's a very good comparison. It's a very similar mindset to the position. And I remember when we signed Romanowski, I was like, is that the guy we want? We already got a target on us being the Raiders. Do we really want to have a guy that's got a reputation? And what? But look, it worked out, and he was great, and I felt the same way when Burfict signed. I'm like, is this the kind of guy we want? He's got a reputation, whatever. But you know what? We need a little bit of oomph to us. It's okay to, look what our freaking team was built on in the 70s.
Hello, Alzado.
Right.
Villapiano, it was
Matt Millen, all those guys. That was
built
70s,
on nasty.
Yes.
Come on.
Exactly. So great call, Junior. Great points there, and appreciate you calling in, and definitely call us back. All right, next up, we're going to hear from our buddy Houston Raider Steve.
Hey, Murph and Mosh, Houston Raider Steve here. Just want to ask you all, do you remember where you all were when you watched Janikowski hit the game winner? Not the game winner. It was a 63-yard field goal that tied the record. I was up at Molly's Pub where I go. That's my Raiders bar. My car flag's flying above there. I've been going there since 2007. And my friend Sean tends bar up there. He's a Giants fan, and everybody up there knows that Raider Steve. They even put it on the bar receipt when I go up there. And they always yell, Raiders, when they see me walk in. Anyway, I called up Sean, and he says, you coming out to the game tonight to watch it here at the bar? And I said, yeah. So anyway, so they surprised me, man. Everybody was wearing black that was working, my friends, him and Miss Sarah and other people that work there at nighttime, and they're all wearing black. As soon as I walk in the door, it's Raiders. So anyway, I was back in the Green Bay room, which is also the Oakland Raider room, back in the back. Everything, just watching the game by myself. Kind of slow that night. Anyway, we call it Raiders After Dark when the Raiders are playing at night games and stuff. So I try to go there if it's possible, to watch the Raider night games there. Anyway, Janikowski sets up. They said in pregame he was hitting 70-yard field goals in pregame. So the coach felt confident to set him out there for the 63-yarder. He hits that 63-yarder with about another 5 yards to spare. I'm back in the back of the room yelling, my butt off. Raiders! Running to the bar, high-fiving Sean and everybody, running around the bar and everything. I was so pumped out, man, that Jano tied the record. Man, I always knew he could do it. I saw him hit a couple of, 57-yarders up in Kansas City twice over the years and stuff. So I knew he had the leg to do it, man. So, again, I asked you, where did you all watch him kick the winning field goal? Were you at your place? Were you out with friends at a bar somewhere? And what's your Raider bar, people, when you go out to watch the Raiders? The Raiders are back. I'm so pumped. I just want to put on some shoulder pads and hit somebody. Great show.
All right, so I think I can answer this question. Now, I had to think. Mosh and I were talking during the call. I had to think about it a little bit. So before this fan cave, there was another fan cave, and the reason that I built that fan cave was because I quit going out to bars. I still used to partake back then, but I partook at my upstairs, which I built a bar, which was the first fan cave up there, and we used to watch all the games, everything. Super Bowls and fights and everything up there. And so much like we do in this one,
we had a few too.
But I'm pretty sure, because that was the last year. I just looked at the date in 2011. That was the last year we were in that. So I'm assuming we were there. Now, again, I used to partake back then, Houston Raiders, Steve. And you remember that story you told where you drank 200 beers, Steve? Like, that was a weekend for us back then. And so I don't remember a lot of, but I'm going to assume that I know that's where we were. But to further that question, do we have a Raiders bar that you hang out at? Yeah, it's my house. Like that's the whole. I mean,
that's where we are.
I put on Mosh's camera. That bar is behind him. That's my Raider bar. Like this is the Raider bar we hang out in now. Is the fan cave, and prior to that fan cave was this fan cave. So and then I'll even build a little bit on that. I was in the bar and restaurant business for many years, and so watching Raider games, I was at work. And, that was it. Like I was always, we always had the games on the satellite TV and whatever. So I worked for many, many, many Sundays, many, many Sunday footballs. And that's so whatever bar I was working at the time, that was my Raiders bar. And then after that, I just built my own in my house.
Yeah. So, but I think it was Q that said that was against the Donkeys. That 63-yarder. I'd have to look it up.
Yeah, because they were in the altitude. That's why he was able to get the distance.
And I remember him. I can almost remember us hearing them talk about hitting them from 70.
I
can almost remember that because we always watch the Broncos Raiders. Always. I mean, it's a foggy memory. We
must have been an afternoon game.
We were drinking.
If that was an early game, we'd have been good.
Because we were drinking Versteiner then.
Yeah,
and we would go get a 6-pack, but what we didn't tell our wives is that there were 6 packs of mini kegs.
Of the mini kegs.
Yeah. Honey, I need $100. Why? I'm going to get a 6-pack.
All right, let's thank you for the call, Houston Raiders Steve. Great story. I always love listening to Houston Raiders Steve's stories, his tales of Raider fandom, man. It's great stuff. All right, next up, we're going to hear from our buddy Raider Juan.
Uncle Mosh, Murph, I'm sorry. This is the second time I called today. I was so nervous and I messed it all up, but
man.
The reason, like last time you said you couldn't understand what I was saying. I got paralyzed and sometimes I have a hard time breathing, but that's another thing, I'm calling because of, we just got Burfict, the linebacker from Cincinnati, for 1 year, $5 million. And I think that's a good, a good pickup. And I'd just like to say that, what do you think of us getting, like Josh Allen in the draft? And hopefully we could get like Josh Jacobs and then Fant in the first round or an offensive lineman. Thank you for taking my call, to Q Dog and Sonny and everything. Thank you for answering my question last week. And God bless all of you. And this is the only reason I like every week. I know I have you guys to listen to, and I appreciate everything you guys do. Keep it up, and God bless you all.
Thanks, Juan. We appreciate that, and we appreciate all of our callers.
Absolutely.
I mean, and it doesn't matter. You can call in if you got a speech impediment. We don't care. If you've got health issues, we don't care. Come on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Come on.
And you want
call.
And I think it was more the phone that was not. It wasn't you. It was the message on the phone. That's why because it glitched or something around the time you said your name is the only reason. So you sound crystal clear, my friend. You sound great, and we appreciate the calls. And yes, absolutely. This is this is friendly ground here, man. We take all comers.
Absolutely.
All comers. So please keep those messages coming. And so to answer your question, Josh Allen is the guy to me, and that's not just because I've bought into all Capo's hype, but although that certainly propelled it. But Josh Allen, I think, is an amazing talent. Would love to see him wear the silver and black. And then in terms of running back, if Josh Jacobs is around and there's an opportunity for us to draft that guy, I think he's a stud, man. Of course, we're suckers for SEC football around here, but man, he's a heck of a football player, and I would love to see him run the football for us. All right, next up, we're going to hear from our buddy Rev Raider out there in New Jersey.
What's going on, Murph and Uncle Mosh? This is Rev Raider calling from Jersey. I just wanted to give a couple thoughts on where we're at. It's looking pretty good in free agency. I'm digging the way we're moving and stuff like that. It looks like Mike Mayock, he has a definite good plan. And some of the moves that we're making, it almost does have me reminiscent of a lot of things. Just looking at where Gruden was saying he's trying to take us back, and not only just in our team, but also like just looking at other teams and what they've done, like with the whole Antonio Brown signing and Tyrell Williams, it just made me think of you had Jerry Rice, you had John Taylor. You had Mike Irvin, you had Alvin Harper, and with the Raiders, you had Tim Brown, Jerry Rice. You even added some speed in between with J.J. Nelson, with that signing. Then you also you're looking at the Trent Brown signing. Then you got Lincoln Kennedy, Vontaze Burfict, very similar to Bill Romanowski. You know, they thought he was dirty too, but he was a good player for us when we had him, you know. So it's a lot of cool things going on. You know, I like the way they're moving with the offense, you know, even some of the defensive signings, LaMarcus Joyner, you know. Now, every time I see one of them make a big hit, like I'm probably going to be at the house like, welcome to Munchkin Land, you know, for the player who gets hit, you know, something like that. Also, I'm just excited for the draft to see where we're going with that. It does seem like we're going to go heavy defense in the draft. I do see us picking up a tight end, you know, because now they just signed Jared Cook to the Saints. So I could see us going like Noah Fant, T.J. Hawkinson, or maybe even Irv Smith from Alabama could be a good look, you know. So I'm very excited to see where we're going, you know. I even love the hate that we're getting too. I heard a guy on Mikey's Raider rants and stuff, a Buffalo Bills fan, he called hating. And he was tighter than a mosquito's butthole, boy. He was mad at the signing of Antonio Brown and stuff like that and hating on the Raiders. I mean, he needs to go back and look at his own history and realize even Jim Kelly didn't want to go to Buffalo. Nobody wants to go to Buffalo. Fall back, man. You just upset, butthurt. But that's all the things that I've got, man. Y'all keep doing what you're doing. Love the show as always.
Oh, gosh. That's like Rev Raider fogged up my glasses. That was pretty funny, man.
Rev, well, I would have never put those two things together. Oh my gosh,
man,
that's up there, funny. Man. That's up there with like the gerbils and hamsters we've talked about.
Oh yeah, sitting on his tiny nuts.
My
that
gosh.
one about killed me. That Wyoming Raider about killed me. That was hilarious.
So funny.
So funny. So real quick, in terms of tight end goes, you know, I know a lot of folks are talking about the two Iowa tight ends in terms of us drafting them, but don't forget we got Darren Waller on this football team. The guy is 6'6". He runs like a 4.4. He's got good hands, very athletic. I mean, go back and look at a couple of the highlights. He didn't play a lot last year, but the times that he did, man, he was pretty good. And so, and not only that, but is it his great grandfather is Fats Waller, or his grandfather was?
It was his great grandfather. Remember we looked that up.
Yeah. So really cool stuff there, man. So I'm rooting for Darren Waller, and because of not only a cool story off the field, but man, I think there's something. Look, I'll say this: Gruden said it this week. He's going to get the chance of a lifetime. That's Gruden's words. That
right.
Darren Waller's going to get the chance of a lifetime now with the departure of Jared Cook. So it's his job to take. So we'll find out real quick if he's got it or not. All right, next up, we're going to go to our buddy Raider Rue in Logan, Utah.
Hey, Murph, Uncle Mosh, whoever else might be in studio with you guys or hosting from afar, however it works out this week. This is Raider Rue from Logan, Utah. So after the free agency, I saw a lot of connection with the Raiders and the quarterback, be it Haskins, some say Locke, or Kyler Murray. Even some believe we're trading up to number one to take Kyler Murray. I'll say that I don't see it based off what I know about John Gruden. Like, I think a lot of people see him as the TV guy still. I love his love with the quarterbacks. Okay, he's in love with Kyler Murray. I hear he's in love with Haskins and Drew Lock and all those guys. But one thing I know about John Gruden, the head coach, is he actually really does prefer his veterans, especially on his offensive side, because he feels like he can skip steps with them and he can do more with them and have the learning curve for his offense isn't as big. I mean, especially on offense, especially at quarterback, he wants a veteran. So I just don't see him giving up the assets to go up, especially to get a quarterback like Kyler Murray, and either hand his offense over to a rookie or even the next year, a second-year player, and you're taking that with the moves that he made, bringing in guys like Antonio Brown and Tyrell Williams. It just doesn't scream to me, yep, Raiders are going to take a quarterback early in this draft. I really don't see it. I don't think that's Gruden's style. I mean, I guess you never know. Anything could happen, but I'm saying now, I don't think it happens, and I think some of these guys in the media are just connecting the dots wrong or connecting dots that aren't there. All right. It should be fun, though, that come draft time. It's been a fun off season so far. Thanks for the time, guys. Go Raiders.
Great job, Raider Rue. And, I think he said that perfectly. They're connecting dots that just aren't there. There you go. That's it in a nutshell. And you know what? Great points, Raider Roo. Appreciate your phone calls. And you know what, Mosh? That was Raider Roo's third call.
No way.
Third message to get played here on the show, so that makes him what?
He's a made man. You are a made man. You showed you are part of the family by participation. By chance, a man like yourself should make enemies, then they would become my enemies. Showing you are a friend of Raiders Fan Radio, you have leapt across the line. Friendship is everything. Friendship is more than talent. It is more than the government. It's almost equal to family. Be loyal. Made man, Raider fan. Someday, and that day may never come, I'll call upon you to do a service for me. But until that day, accept this as a gift. And don't ever forget, words can hurt more, but silence can break hearts.
All right, congratulations to Raider Roo. Great stuff there. Great call. Great content.
Logan, Utah.
Logan, Utah.
I was out near there when I was in the military.
You were?
Yeah, I was at Hill Air Force Base in Ogden, Utah. And Logan's right close to that.
Very cool. I believe that's our first made man from Utah.
I'm adding him to the list.
Adding him to you know what would be fun is that, and I've not mapped it out yet, but now he becomes the 31st made man. And we need to map it out and find out where all the states are that are represented. There's going to be a concentration in Southern California, Texas now, of course, New Jersey. There's a lot of New Jersey, actually.
Right.
There's Florida, off the top of my head, of course, Tennessee. Who else? Let's see. I'm just trying to think off. Ron in Ohio. I'm going to forget somebody, so I'm going to quit because I don't want to forget somebody.
Right.
But there are a lot. There are a lot, and certainly around the Midwest even as well. But I believe that's certainly the first one in Utah. So appreciate it, Raider Roo. Appreciate you being a part of Raiders Fan Radio and becoming a made man. All right, next up, this is his. There's two calls I'm going to play, but this is his second time calling the show. So one more time, and he becomes a made man. And this guy's great, man. Now, for those of you that give me crap about numbers, you may want to lean back in your chair because this guy's all about the numbers, and I freaking love it. Here we go. Here's Jeff in SoCal.
Hey, Murph, Uncle Mosh, Little Murph, Sonny, Wilson, and our capo, Q-Dog. This is One Nation Only Jeff in SoCal. Going to give add a couple 2 cents to the car debate, even though that debate seems to be over now that we've got all the weapons we have this off season. I just wanted to throw some numbers at you, Murph, because I know you like numbers.
Yeah, come on.
First off, 63. That's how many quarterbacks the Raiders have had in their history. 35. That's the number of quarterbacks we've drafted in our history. And out of those 35 quarterbacks, there's only one other quarterback you can compare Carr to, and that's Stabler. Now I know Stabler and Plunkett have won Super Bowls, but let's just table that for a second and get to some statistics. First off, everyone knows his completion percentage, he's number one. And his yardage total right now is only 300 behind Stabler, and that's with 300 more attempts than Stabler and in 50 less games than Stabler. Wow. Also, everyone says he dinks and dunks. Well, he's number 2 in the Raiders for yards per pass attempt at 6.7. Gannon is number 1 with 7.2. He's number 1 in sack percentage of 4.8, which means he's not being sacked as much as everyone thinks. He may not be as mobile as the Snake, but he didn't get sacked as often as the Snake did. Now, the other statistic I've got here is his interception percentage. Everyone says he needs to protect the ball better. Well, he's number 1 in Raider history at 1.9%. But not only is he number 1 in Raider history, he's 4th in league history behind Rodgers, Kaepernick, and Brady. Now, granted, they played for much more years, but Carr's young. And on that note of him being young, just wanted to point out that he's 27 currently, just about ready to turn 28. But Stabler was drafted in 68, didn't become the starter till 73, so he was 27 when he became the starter for the Raiders, much older than Carr is now, much more experienced. Plunkett had 10 years experience when he started for the Raiders, and Gannon 15 years experience. So I think the best years are still ahead of Carr. Also, now back to the Super Bowls. Stabler and Plunkett played with 8 and 10 Hall of Fame members on their team, offense and defense. Carr has been sprinkled with 1 or 2 here and there. I think that's been improved this offseason. But they
Google Voice has claimed you.
All right, he's on a run, and he calls back, so I'm going to play the second half of his call. But first, you guys know I love this because he's hitting on some killer points. As far as the sacks go, because I see him talking about it in the chat already, that Carr is getting sacked a lot. Yeah, this season, but when you look at what Jeff is referring to, the entirety of his career, yeah, the numbers are lower, but as far as this season, obviously we know that it's spiked up this season. But anyways, he's on a roll. This is great stuff, so let's let him finish it off. Let's go to Jeff back in SoCal.
This is One Nation Only Jeff again. Got the dreaded Google cutoff. Anyway, to finish my point, Stabler played with 10 Hall of Fame players on his roster, Plunkett with 8 Hall of Fame players on his roster. They each played with a Hall of Fame owner, Hall of Fame executive, and Ron Wolf. And Stabler had played underneath Madden, and Plunkett, a Hall of Fame coach that should have been in Tom Flores. So, given what Carr has got now ahead of him, I think he's going to prove this year he is the greatest quarterback we've ever drafted. Anyway, tell me what you think. Talk to you later. Bye.
I gotta say one before we respond to this, Uncle Mosh. I gotta play another sound clip for you in reference to Jeff's call.
What? Did we just become best friends? Yup. You want to go do karate in the garage? Yup.
You're so stupid.
I freaking love Jeff and SoCal. We have a lot of favorites on this show.
Oh my gosh.
That guy's fogging up my glasses.
I know, right? Oh my
Isn't
gosh.
that incredible stuff?
He
That's
hates
great.
math, but he loves numbers.
Oh my gosh, that was great stuff.
And we talked about a few of those,
Yes.
but we never put them all together like he did.
Not like
That's
that. Look,
crazy, awesome.
Look, Raider Nation, like it or not, it's Stabler's our guy, right? He's my all-time favorite player. He is, he's a lot of the reason that we're Raider fans and passionate the way that we are. I mean, we are Stabler guys. I mean, there's no doubt. But Derek Carr is going to be the all-time leading passer and probably go down as the greatest Raiders quarterback in history by the time this is all said and done. Here's what I think is key and what he brought up. Let's not evaluate Derek Carr on his body. I guess we're going to evaluate him on his body of work thus far, but let's not gauge his career on his body of work this far. He's 27. Tom Brady is 41. Drew Brees is 40. Phillip Rivers is bumping 40. Like these guys now, the days of the 37-year-old quarterback falling off a cliff. Because remember, that was always the magic number.
That was the magic number, yeah.
Elway, Marino, Kelly. Of course, they are all the same draft. But you guys know what I'm saying, though, that like forever, when quarterbacks got to 37, that was it. That was ball game. Well, it's not like that anymore. Now they're going into their 40s now. So feasibly, Derek Carr could have another 15-year career. Like, we've seen 25% of the entirety of his career. Like, we got a long way to go with this guy.
Exactly.
So let's not evaluate him on his entirety until then. So great stuff, Jeff and SoCal. Definitely keep them coming. And one more, and you become a made man. All right, Uncle Mosh, next up, we're going to hear from our buddy that coined the phrase, what happens in Vegas started in Oakland, our buddy Big Raider Trucker.
What's going on, fellas? Sergeant at Arms here, Mr. Big Raider Trucker. Check. Now, I won't go with the hit list because that's tied to the one and only Mr. Capo and the Q-Dog Raider. But I will say, I do have 3 people this week that need to be checked. One of them, these guys have always been talking, but it's one fluffer cat, loose lip, drooling Mr. Colin Cowherd himself. My goodness. I keep hearing you say the Raiders don't have a plan. It's kind of up in the air. They're just going with the flow. I'm just one big old fat oversized truck driver, and even I know this is one of the heaviest defensive drafts there's been in the past couple of years. So what are the Raiders going to do? Load up on offense, you dumb. Not that hard. Okay, that's out of the way. Number 2, this gentleman is the last of the Mohicans and a great descendant of the Coneheads. I'm talking about the one and only Mr. 10 Forehead himself, Stephen A. Smith. Brother, AB's gone. Get over it. Your Steelers are going to be It's over, man. Let's go talk about something else. I'm talking about my Raiders. All right, and number 3. I know he's a Raider, but Mr. Dirty Walrus himself, AB. Brother, you're part of the nation. The trade that you were going to go to Buffalo is dead and over with. I'm kind of getting tired of you on social media pushing that. You're kind of starting to piss me off. I need you to change it. All right, guys, last thing I want to talk about, I want to talk about a division. Murph, I really need to get your input on this. Why is Kansas City not getting as much as anybody else in the NFL would be, as far as Mr. Cheetah himself, Tyreek Hill, and the unfortunate circumstances he had put himself in? They lost D Ford, they lost Justin Houston, they lost Eric Berry. They're on the verge of losing Tyreek Hill too, and they lost Kareem Hunt. And they got 1 year on Kermit the Frog himself. Is anybody else screaming that the division is open? Or not just me being a diehard Raider fan?
Oh, my gosh.
All right, guys, just checking in again. Big Raider Trucker, check in, out.
Dirty Walrus and Kermit the Frog.
He rules, man. That was awesome.
Mojo wrote hashtag Dirty Walrus.
Big Raider Trucker's on fire this week, man. I love it.
Oh, my gosh. He must have been going through some heavy traffic or something. Got fired up.
That's
so
one of his
funny.
best calls. That was phenomenal, man. That was a great job. And so, he asked the question about, why aren't the Chiefs getting any kind of hate? Why aren't they getting the run that the Raiders would be getting if these things were happening to us? And well, it's just, I think it can be as simple as that. The media is just kind of anti-Raider. It always has been. And right now, the Chiefs and the Rams are the darlings of the NFL. With the way that Patrick Mahomes had. Look, if I hear about his no-look pass one more time, I'm going to freaking puke, man. It's like, all right, get over yourself. I get it. The guy's talented. He's great. But he has supplanted Tom Brady or anybody else as the face of the league as far as look, I'm sensitive to it because I can't stand the Chiefs, but Patrick Mahomes is everywhere, and Rick, I guess rightfully so. He's the guy. He's the MVP for crying out loud. But they're getting a flat pass, and so do most Andy Reid football teams. There's been dysfunction on Andy Reid football teams for a long time, and he always gets a free pass. I don't understand it. I don't get it. I'm with you. I don't even know how to answer the question because I think it's just stupid. I just don't get it. And
that did it. It's stupid. Are you stupid?
Stupid. That's it. There's my expert analysis.
Stupid.
All right, let's go here from our buddy Raider Beto. You know the city.
Raider Beto, you know the city. So the Raiders are officially playing in Oakland for 2019 season. So now that means I can finally see the baseball field on the field. And I have to go to the last game because I thought I went to the last game last season, but gotta go to the last game now. Anyway, I've been thinking about, what happens if, Josh Allen is taken by the stupid Niners, or Nick Bosa or Quentin Williams are taken in the top 3 picks. And I was thinking of getting Devin White would be a really good option because he's fast for a linebacker, and that would figure out the problem that we have with covering tight ends. Would be a plus. And then I also have another poll on my Twitter. I'm going to start doing weekly polls from now on. And this one is about, out of all these let me say that again. Out of all these first round picks, which one of them would you want to see pan out? And I gave 4 options. First one is Darren McFadden, number 20, Darius Hayward-Bay, 85, Tyler Brayton, 91, and then DJ Hayden, number 25. Ooh. Go vote, 27 Sliver Box, or just look up Raider Beto, because you know the city. So anyway, go Raiders.
All right, great job, Raider Beto. Awesome as usual, my friend. And, so That's a great question. So he asked us the tough questions. So which one of those draft picks would I have liked to have seen pan out? So I narrowed it down to DMC, DHB, and DJH. So Darren McFadden was amazingly talented, but plagued by injuries. So while I don't think he would have been the one to kind of turn around our franchise, I think that his impact was great at the times when he was healthy, but unfortunately just didn't see the field nearly enough. But while we were rooting for that, I don't think there was not like a linchpin moment to that draft, even though that was a big deal to get him. DJ Hayden was a linchpin to Reggie McKenzie's career because that was the first swing and a miss, and it was kind of a big one. And even though DJ is a serviceable like slot corner, he's far from the first round talent that the Raiders expected and kind of that we expected. And, you know, I don't want to speak ill of him because of the health challenges that he had, but that was a major risk. I mean, the guy literally almost died playing football, and then, you know, they pieced his heart back together. I mean, it was a crazy risk. So I'm going to go with, to the answer to the question, I'm going to go with DHB, and here's why. I wanted that one to work out because it was Michael Crabtree and it was Darius Hayward-Bay. Everybody had the Raiders taking Michael Crabtree. Michael Crabtree was the favorite. And when the Raiders didn't have the opportunity to draft Michael Crabtree and drafted DHB, the immediate narrative was Al has lost it. It has passed him by. This is not the 70s anymore. You can't just draft the fastest guy on the field. You know, and if you remember our wide receiving core back then, it was like Chaz Schleans and Johnny Lee Higgins and these guys. And so DHB's failure to emerge as a number one wideout and worthy of that, I forget, 7 or 8 or 9 pick, whatever he was, that almost cemented Al's legacy for the end of his career. Because I don't remember what year was DHB was drafted, but Al passed in 2011. It was right before all that. It was not long. So I think it would have been nicer as a fan to see Al go up on a higher note, go out on a higher note than what he did, and that DHB was a big one. That was a big swing and a miss, and so I'm going to go with that as the biggest failure and biggest one that I wanted to see work out. All right, Uncle Mosh, we got one more before we get out of here. We're ready for Monster Mash. Ken.
Yeah. We haven't heard from him
all right,
for a while.
Let's hear from our buddy Monster Mash.
This is Monster Mash Ken. Listen up, Slappy. For far too long, I've sat back and watched you and that donut-eating Rex Ryan looking jabroni run the show.
Oh, no,
enough
he
is
did
enough,
it.
and it's time for a change. To be the man, you gotta beat the man, and I'm calling you jabronis out. I got 3 words for you. Wolfpack Nation. We're wheeling and dealing, limousine riding, jet flying, high profiling. And if you think you can run with the Wolfpack, just bring it. What are you doing WrestleMania weekend? It doesn't matter what you're doing WrestleMania weekend. Sit your booty poo monkey ass down, pick up the phone, and join us to talk some wrestling. And if you're not down with that, I've got 2 words for ya.
Whoa! I think we just got called out. I don't know what that was all about, but we just got called out on the air.
So you're saying, Monster Mash Ken, that you want us to join you on your show?
What?
Wolfpack Nation.
What?
With you.
What?
And the Blitz chick.
What?
And Bobby Wasabi fella.
What?
And the Canadian guy.
What?
You want us to be on your show?
What?
If you want Murph and Mosh to be on Wolfpack Nation, give me a hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Wow. We have never been called out on our own show before. What was he thinking? I'm supposed to give a sizzler after that?
You got to give a sizzler, Mosh.
Sizzler.
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 Sizzler. Sizzler. Sizzler. Sizzler.
Well, normally, after a bit where we throw things and we create one hell of a mess on the carpet. Normally, I would have to give you the in-house Sizzler Award, but I think we just got, maybe you won't get the scissor, but you do have 1 word for Monster Mash, Ken, and we will be there on his show pre-WrestleMania, but you're going to do some sign language.
There you go, Ken. That's for you, buddy. Oh, man. And that's the bottom line because Stone Murph said so.
All right.
Sizzler.
Well,
Sizzler. Sizzler.
Sizzler.
So we have so much fun.
That was pretty, okay, that was fun.
Hey, so how is all that little pansy drink all over your face?
I'm soaking wet. Now I know why Stone Cold was always so soaked when he left because I don't know how I ended up all over my head, but I'm completely soaked all the way down.
We might have to watch our own show one time.
I know, right? Yeah.
But in all reality, I mean, we had some great calls this week. Of course, Capo started it off with a bunch of accolades and talked about his trip down here, and Junior jumped in there was saying no bozo. Houston Steve gave us one of his great 63-yard flashbacks to the Seabass kick against the Donkeys. Raider Juan with his first call. Rev Raider talked about the signings, who's he gonna pick, and then hit us with tighter than a mosquito's butthole. Raider Roo was made man. One Nation Jeff, your new bromance. And then Beto, the last game.
The last game.
Yeah, and Monster Mash with calling us out. But today's Sizzler has got to go 100% to our Sergeant at Arms.
Oh, yeah.
Who coined the phrase and the hashtag Dirty Walrus. And that goes to the one and only Big Raider Trucker.
Awesome
Great
job.
Great job.
Awesome job.
Sizzler.
Sizzler. Sizzler. Sizzler. Sizzler.
Awesome job.
We are Metallica, and we are here for your Oakland Raiders.
You know why we out here, and we ain't playing around today.
From The Walking Dead to errant Jedi Knights, Raiders fans are a rogues gallery.
So the chat is amazing. It's always the best here on Raiders Fan Radio. If you want to join the chat, you can join us on our YouTube feed, which is youtube.com/MurphsFanCave. In there tonight, Chris Potts, Joseph Morales, Freddie Chavez, Pirate 1975, Aaron the Q-Dog Raider, Monster Mash, Ken Carlos, Raider VC, Roach is in there, so many. And I love the nicknames now. So I went all Stone Cold, but now you're getting the manager role.
I know, right?
They're calling you what? Mosh the Brain and like, what's the other Uncle Mosh Heart or what? There's all kinds
Mosh
of
Billy Jim.
That's fantastic.
It's so funny because we have you and I have a legacy of doing our first venture into this stuff together was doing play-by-play at a wrestling event at a
one
bar
of those bars
you worked
I used
in.
to work there. Yeah.
And we used to have more. And there's actually some old videos from about 20 years ago when we did those. We might throw those up there sometime. And those are, maybe link them off of our Facebook or something. But, man, we had a blast doing that. And then, of course, all the what people don't know is I coached wrestling, high school wrestling for a long time, and actually brought in a whole bunch of folks to do a wrestling event. And I was in the corner of Dirty Dutch Mantel, and the Undertaker came and spoke to my students. And I mean, it was a lot of fun. So we love to get a little throwback to our roots. But I was cracking up watching the chat, going, "What's going on? Whoa!"
So check this out. So look at this. So there's. I don't know if you can see it or not. So there's a picture. So that's Mosh. Here, let me see if we get him on. So that's Mosh in his Stone Cold shirt, and that's me. And this is 98?
Yeah, 98.
I think this is 98. So Mosh,
right after you moved here.
Yeah, doing our wrestling show, man. We are all in the bag for this stuff. That's what when Ken told me that he was doing a show about pro wrestling, especially about the NWO Wolfpacker related to that and the Raiders. I'm like, dude, that's amazing.
Yeah, and we met Six Pack a couple of years ago.
We sure did. That was great. Yeah,
down in when we were on one of our casino sports adventures.
Yeah, casino sports adventures. Yeah, that was good. Good stuff, man. So look for. I don't know what. This is. I'm a bad wrestling fan nowadays. I don't watch it not nearly as much as we used to.
I don't know why we ran out of time, but we don't have the time to watch it anymore.
Well, duh.
Because we're doing this.
Kind of doing a podcast instead. Yeah.
Wait. Mojo might have got my new moniker.
What?
Dusty Mosh, the Raider Dream.
That's great, man. That's great.
Oh, Aaron, the Q-Dog Raider says, you guys look like the Impractical Jokers.
That was a long time ago, man. That was 21 years ago now. So anyway, so appreciate all of you all. And yes, Ken, we'll link up schedules, and we'll be glad to join you all on Wolfpack Nation.
That'll be fun.
That'll be fun. Talk a little bit of wrestling, a little bit of Raiders. And so thank you to all of you and the wonderful support that you give us here, Raiders Fan Radio. Thank you guys for tuning in live. For those of you that are here live, thank you to those of you that download the audio podcast. And please help us support. You're going to hear us say it a lot, but this is a theme we're going to continue on through the latter half of the year, and that is we are going to support the Bolitnikoff Foundation based on your activity, and it's not going to cost you anything extra. It's just going to be based on our t-shirt sales and anything that you buy via the NFL.com link that's in the description there. So please support us, help us support them, and you know that when we go down there and present this check to the foundation, we'll make sure that it's not us.
No. It's
not us.
On behalf of you guys.
Absolutely it is. So thank you all very much for joining us. You want to you got our outro there,
let's
Mark?
do this one more time.
Okay.
I don't have the outro music on here.
Oh, you don't have the outro?
You got that one.
Okay, well, let me see. Well, you talk and I'll search.
Yeah. So we had a lot of fun tonight, man. It was great. It was, for me, it was glad to be back in the seat. I think some things were done the right way while I was gone. I think Capo came in. He hung out in the seat the right way. Lessons can be learned from that. And I like Ron's idea. We got enough made men to have a Royal Rumble.
I love it.
D the Sun says that I would look great in a Vader mask.
Oh,
yeah.
Nice.
But most importantly, we want to thank everybody for listening tonight. So, for Murph, this is your old Uncle Mosh, and you've been listening to Raiders Fan Radio, where we took a lighter side journey into the dark side. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, what happens in Vegas started in Oakland.
He was tighter than a mosquito's butthole, boy. He was mad at the signing of Antonio Brown.